Hello. I'll sit down for a minute. I suppose. No, I'm going to get back up again. Right. Hello. Psychic Craftswoman's vlog here. My name's Vera. I'm the one that runs the blog. I'm psychic. I've had a history of psychic experience for oh, this is my knees. I'm on my knees. Oh, sorry, I'm in the ditch. That's what I'm doing. Ow, I'm gonna shift. Right, my name's Vera and I'm the Psychic Craftswoman. This name was given to me by the universe, and I try to write a vlog or make a vlog about my experience as a psychic and a spiritual person. I started developing when I was in my 30s. I'm now 72, so I've got a lot of experience with the other universe. Okay, hello. I'm down in a ditch this morning, but I'm not on my feet down in the ditch. I'm on my knees down in the ditch. So it's a lovely morning. A bit warm actually, because but anyway, this is the Psychic Craftswoman, and my name's Vera, and on this vlog I speak about my experiences as a psychic and pass on my knowledge and life experience, and also craft as well. I knit, crochet, just make things in general for me and my home. I also craft in the garden, such as growing things. I think that's crafting as well, because there's nothing like seeing plants grow, and makes you feel very, I don't know, grounded, I suppose you'd call it. Part of the natural order of things. Anyway, what I'm doing is filling in the ditch. Now, it's not a hugest of ditches, but it is still quite a decent ditch. And what happened was that 2 years ago we were going to run a market garden from our farm here. We've got 13 acres, and we thought we might be well, we did think we might like to make a market garden. So behind me there was a big space, big enough to put a shop and greenhouse, and Lester was going to build it. It's going to be quite big. Not as big as a commercial greenhouse, because we do have our financial limitations. But he started digging a ditch for the foundations of the greenhouse, and then everything came to a halt. I got rushed off to hospital for something or other, and he started work. He was headhunted by a company he used to work for in the UK, and they made him an offer he couldn't refuse. So he's programming and doing other computer related things. Don't ask me what they are, because I haven't got the foggiest idea. Anyway, so I'm out here saying hello to you. and I've got to get up now and start the process, or continue the process of filling in this ditch, because I've got a plan for this little strip of land. What he did was, when he dug the ditch, he left the pile of earth beside it and stones. He just dug the ditch, and I said to him, what are you going to do with all that heap? It was quite a fair sized ditch in length and breadth, and all we had beside it was the hole. Beside the hole where the ditch was a huge mound of earth, because over the 2 years it's just grown full of wild plants, weeds in other words. So I can't have that because it looks a mess. And this is my jardin. This area outside of the house is my jardin, garden, and I'm protecting it. I'm protecting it very well from man thoughts about needing turning room for tractors and it being a good dumping ground for rubbish. And no, it's not, Leicester. We're making a jardin out of this. It makes your soul feel good to come out of the door and see, I wouldn't say order, because there never can be order in the universe. What I mean is tidy, as human beings like tidy, but it's a natural chaos which is orderly, if you see what I mean. Anyway, I've got some raised beds here, and they've not been anything growing in them at the moment, except the natural plants, weeds, and I've been slowly bonding with this front of the house area. Yes, I've got got quite a lot of plans for it, and which do not involve man stuff like tractors and farm rubbish and stuff. Definitely not. So I'll just try and get up. Oh dear, excuse me a minute. Oh, that was easier than what I thought. I must be fitter than what I thought. Right. Oops, I'm getting cramp in the leg. No, I'm not. Tell my leg to behave itself, and I'll carry on getting this bank flattened and get the ditch filled in, because I've got some plants I want to plant, and digging and scraping. And do you know what? I can't get down there again. I think I might go in for a cup of coffee. I think the sun's got to my head. I'll catch you later. Well, I didn't make it very far. I haven't gone indoors yet for a cup of coffee. But a thought came into my mind. About the progression of things. A friend of mine, Denise, hello Denise, excuse me, did a vlog. She's a writer and a general good all-round friend, and we have our ups and downs. I think we're both evolving in ourselves, and sometimes when we are in a particular state of evolution in ourselves, we sort of can't get the same sync, and then there are times when we make that step forward and then we are in sync. I think that's the same for most people actually. It's like I've been in sync with my partner Lester for the last week or so. We've had a decision to make about the farm, and it unsettled both of us. just changed our way of thinking about the farm, which resulted in a change to the farm. And I got out of sync with him today. We were so in together, and the heart energies were really good because we had the same situation to cope with, to sort out in our minds. Did we want to make this change? Did we not want to make this change? What is the best thing to do? And then the solution to the decision we came to. I asked the universe for help with making sure that the decision was a right decision for all concerned, including the animals that were involved, and it just fell into place. The transition time between being in that not in that change state, and then having made the change, and then being in the post-change state, the after-change state. And because then once you've made a decision and you've adapted to the change, there comes the adjustment time, and that can put you out of sync with people, and that's put me out of sync with my partner today. We're both very gruffy with each other, so this is when I pull my sensitive self to the fore and push my human self to the background, and refuse to get irritated by his mannerisms when he is in his not very happy state of mind. So you can't be in sync with your partner all the time, because being human beings, each of us has ups and downs. Every day you can't be the same every day in yourself. You wake up in a mood or a certain frame of mind, and then during the day that changes, that frame of mind will alter and shift, hopefully in a good way. But you know, sometimes we get tired, especially if you're towards the end of the working week, and you get out of sync with yourself, because what we do is we just take it out on everybody else around us. Oh, I do as well. I'm no better. I should be more aware of the way I am when I'm just out of sync with myself and everybody around me. But because I tend to want to go into hermit mode. I was thinking about my friend and thinking how much in sync we are, and how much out of sync we can get sometimes, which is the natural progression of life. It's the way life is. I mean, you can get out of sync with your family. Nothing's the same forever. We want it to be. We want it to be lovely and tranquil. But I don't know, we make too many expectations on ourselves and everybody around us. Always blaming everybody else. It's your fault, you say. And yet really, if we look at ourselves and say, well, what's the matter with me? Why aren't I happy with this situation? If you ask yourself first why you're not happy, then you'll find that your attitude towards the situation, which has gone a bit out of kilter, would come back into kilter, into balance. I'm knitting on my socks. Easy to pick up. I did love the wool when it arrived. I'll put what the wool is down in the notes, but it's a lovely red, beautiful colour. And I'm knitting for the first time on 2.25 higher sharps needles, I've worked on higher sharps needles before, but normally on 2.75. But I thought I'd go down to a 2.25 because although it makes the knitting slower, because it's smaller stitches, therefore you've got to do more rows, it also makes the knitting tighter. So the stitches are smaller because they're smaller needles, and I thought that that would help them to wear better. I don't get any problems with my socks. I've had some for years, and they're going a bit thin, thin on the toes, but they're okay, still okay, they're still wearable. So I don't know really why I wanted to go down to 2.25, and I've been asking myself that all the way through these socks, because it is a very fine, very small needle, and I keep splitting the wool. I don't think it's the wool's fault that I keep splitting it. I think it's just me. Have to pay more attention to my stitch work. But this is the first time I've knitted with these needles, so I'll get used to it. Doing the magic loop method of making socks. You have a loop either side, and plenty of YouTube videos to watch if you're interested. But does mean I don't drop stitches when I put the knitting down. I used to work in 4 needles, what they call DPNs. I've done socks years ago with DPNs, and I did try using DPNs when I first went back to sock knitting when I arrived here in France 11 years ago. Living in a caravan, I needed all the warm woolens I could make for myself. So knitted socks it was. But DPNs, I think when I used to knit DPNs, I knitted a DK weight on wool, not 4-ply, and probably on double knitting I would be all right on DPNs, but I just stopped then. Sometimes I do that. I just wanted to say thank you for sharing time with me. I'm not a psychic in the traditional sense of psychic. It means I'm not a reader of cards, tarot cards. I do use tarot cards sometimes, but only in a different way. I'll explain that another time. But I'm sensitive to the energies which are beyond us. Do I imagine them? No. Because for 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 40 years I've had the experience of the universe, which I call the energies. You can call it God or Jehovah, any of those religious names. But I find those religious names limiting. I find that the word universe suits me because it means the hugest of energies. That is what I feel when that energy draws close. It's huge. And It's no good trying to understand what it is or where it comes from, because it's beyond our human understanding. And if you start using your head to investigate what that energy is or try to rationalise it, you lose the sensitivity towards that energy, because it's about feeling, it's about senses, and you can't rationalise the senses, because if you use your head to rationalise, then you lose your sensitivity towards receiving and being part of that energy. Most people are uncomfortable with that energy. It's beyond their understanding, therefore they don't understand it, and it worries them, sometimes frightens them. I've never been frightened by it. I didn't investigate that energy years ago. I didn't think, oh, I'm going to have a look at what this is and what is it. I'm going to develop my sensitivity so I can be a psychic person and I can earn a lot of money by it, or I can be better than everybody else because I can say I'm special, I'm psychic. But that's not it. Because I was going along in my life, busy being unsuccessful in marriage, having children, single parent family at a time when it was not the norm to be a single parent family. It was very frowned upon at that time, and which was what, the 1960s, very frowned upon. And 1970s was when I started developing the intuitivity, but it came to me. It came into my life rather than me searching it out. Some people say they're naturally psychic, which means they're born with the gift. I wasn't born with the gift. I woke up when I was in my 30s, mid-30s. How did I wake up? Well, I didn't wake up, I was woken up. I don't really want to go into a lengthy explanation of how it all happened, because it was complicated, because it involved what my personal life was doing at the time. So I did write a book about it, and I never published it. It just stayed in the cupboard. But maybe I'll get that out and have a look at it, and maybe I'll run some vlogs about the process of how it happened to me. But it was a life training which brought me to this this way of being highly intuitive. Now, entirely intuitive does not mean I can give somebody a reading and say, well, tomorrow you're going to do this, next week you're going to get tomorrow you're going to get a letter and it's going to be from so-and-so, or you're going to win a lot of money in 3 years' time, or anything like that, or your partner is going to fall in love with you ever such a lot and love you forever. No matter what you do, you can do whatever you like to that partner, that partner is going to love you forever. I don't do any of that. But the universe talks to me. That's clairaudience. As you hear audio, you can hear. I hear not voices like you or I, and they're not chatting with me all the time, which irritates me, I might say. I might say that I would like to have hours of the day with lots and lots of info chatted. I'd like to have the those whatever energy is giving me the clairaudience. I would very much like them to tell me what it is I'm supposed to be doing with the vlogs, with but no, they let me get on with it. I have to get on with it, and then they'll support me by helping me when I most need it. Probably my fault. I probably don't meditate enough. If I meditated more and there was a more in balance, then they would be able to come closer to me. Because their energies have to twin with my energies. And if my energies are all upset, then they can't draw close. When I say they, I can't say it. What do you call an energy? It is not the right name. They is not the right name because it sounds too personalised, doesn't it? That's the best I can do. Just say they. I was watching the wind blow. Yesterday we had quite a big wind, and I was watching the trees blow. Dancing they were, and it was magical. And I thought that's how the universal energies are. You know, you go out in the wind, you know it's the wind. Your mind says this is wind, nothing to be worried about, unless it's a hurricane or anything like that, a typhoon or something, but a general breezy wind, even up to gale force, it's not going to worry you. Your mind says, oh, I accept this, I don't have to think about this is just wind. It might be irritating in that it's blowing you about a bit and your hair goes all over the place, and it might buffet you a little bit, but it's still the wind. You still know it's the wind. You don't have to rationalise the wind, but try to rationalise the wind. What is it? It's a movement of air. But how do you know? How do you know it's the air? Because you've been taught that it's the air. So don't worry about it. It's something you've always had lifelong, since you were a baby. A breath of air, breeze, anything like that, it's okay. You're adjusted to it. It's all right. Well, that's how the universal energies are. I can't see them. Well, sometimes clairvoyantly, but you're not going to see them. Like, okay, there's a chair beside me, and I can see the chair. Well, I don't see the universal energies like that chair, as solid as that chair, because it's not of this dimension. It's very complicated. I hope I haven't lost you. But you think about the wind and you can't see it, but you know it's there. How do you know it's there? Well, you can see dust blowing, you can see things in the air moving. We've got acacia trees in full blossom at the moment, and they drift their little seeds like fairies drifting about in the wind. It's very pretty, but how do I know it's the wind that's carrying them? Because, you know, because I do. I don't rationalise, oh, that's the air currents. I just know. And that's like it is for me with the universe. I accept it. And I enjoy my connection with them. I'm not special. I'm not special. But I am I am stubborn and dedicated, and not as dedicated as I might be, but I am aware that I need to be balanced if I'm going to get the best for myself out of my life, which is the side of me which is receptive to and connected to the energies of the universe. I've got a little lizard dancing along the wall. I've got sparrows chipping away at the front of the house. It's lime mortar or something like that, and they're chipping away. doing a grand renovation job, I might add, and we just had some bees arrive or set up home in the eaves or the roof of the what we call the half barn, which is not very high roof, so it's quite low, and there's all these fairies dancing in the wind, and very nice. I'm very, I can say lucky to be here, but I've worked for it. I've worked hard to understand the nature of things, and that doesn't mean looking at books and reading what everybody else says. That's just trying to be balanced and absorbing the way the universe works, but from the universe, what the universe teaches me, and not from anybody else's teachings. Apart from some wise masters about the way to think, and sometimes I do read some philosophy books, but hardly at all, because all that I am comes from all of the learning that I have personally had. Well, I don't know about you, but I've got to go and have a cup of coffee. What's the time? 11 o'clock. I think I might stay indoors and get some early lunch done today. Thank you for listening. Catch you later. I've had a bit of a disaster. I made my first shawl a month or two ago, and it was a Sandra Paul's Victoria shawl. I crocheted it in cotton, and I thought it would be like a lightweight wrap to put round my neck, just to keep any chilly breezes off my back. Anyway, so I washed it. I put it in the washing machine because I don't do hand washing. Not of any commercial wool. I have to wash by hand any wool I spin from our sheep, but which is why I don't do a lot of spinning of our fleece. I've got quite a stash of fleece I've spun, but I never know what to do with it, because it's well, it's the colour, because all our sheep are brown, and I don't really want to make everything brown. It's a project for another day. I may put a different colour with the brown, or do something with it. Inspiration from the universe perhaps will come to me. Anyway, so I washed the shawl, and that's a bit's all right. It's still wet, by the way, so and that bit's all right, but this bit isn't. But it's got a flipping great stain in the bottom of it. So how did that happen? I don't know. Let's see. There. Well, that was a bit of a bummer. So it's not even got to my wardrobe, and it's, you know, so, well, we won't get upset about that. We won't think about the money it cost, and so that Lester's putting the tractor over the grass. good therapy for him. He said, oh, it's a man's job, you know, it's got to be done, and the grass is growing very long, but I watch his face when he's on that tractor, and it's definitely, it's a useful boy's toy, you know. Well, it's not a toy really, it's a necessity when you've got a little farm. But he does enjoy it. Yes, so my shawl. So I put it in a bowl to soak, thinking that the magic fairy might come along and undo the stain, like it's a washable out stain. And I think there's products you can buy to shift stain, but I can't be doing with that. I'll have to accept that I've got a stain on it. I'm not sure how I did it, but it's done. Fortunately, I've got a 100-gram ball left over, so I'm going to have to make some crocheted flowers or something to go over the stain. You know, hide it. I'm very good at that. You know, you can make repairs that don't look like repairs to clothing. Even a rip on a pair of trousers, if you put a pretty patch, pretty coloured patch, so you're not actually hiding the rip by the patch. You're not saying, oh, don't look at this because it's damaged. You're saying, look, this is a design feature. It's got a patch, look. I think the sun's got to me today. It's been a lovely day. I spent all afternoon in my back kitchen trying to catch up with the washing up that's out there. But I'm getting there. It's it just seems to be an environment that never seems to want to stay tidy. I think there's another mischievous fairy that goes out there and causes pots to be used, which then have to be washed up, and or perhaps it's me not liking washing up. Oh well. So it's been the end of a day. It's getting on for early evening. It's 7:15, and I think I don't know whether to go to the meditation group this evening. It's only about 10 minutes away, and they're a good crowd of people, but it does go on a bit late. The meditation only takes about an hour, but then there's a kind of tendency to sit and chat about all the problems and that, and while I think it's a good thing, and it helped me an awful lot when I first joined the group a year or so ago, it does make for a late night, and I like to be in bed for about 10, and I can never sleep when I come back from the evening, so a last minute decision whether to go or not. So Lester's coming into the courtyard now, so I'm going to sign off, say blessings to you. I hope you're having a good day or a good evening, or a good time in your life, and hope to see you soon. Don't forget to like and to subscribe so that you can pick up on any other videos I have. Bye!